I would probably do just a different shirt, keep everything with this shirt.
Where is the Guinness being sold on stage again this year?
Yeah, it'll be back over there.
It'll be in the
So
corner.
yeah, so we'll probably give them a little light flash at like 5 minutes or something. Let them know where. Time to get them to their seats. Okay, so let's go into house. Addison, if you don't mind playing a little bit for us.
Started.
Yeah, so if you guys don't mind just going off stage, I can give you your places.
We figure out how we're going to stand first. Next to one another.
Minstrel boy to the war is gone in the ranks of death you will find him.
His father's sword he has girded on, and his wild harp slung behind him. Land of song, cried the warrior bard, though all the world betrays thee, one sword at least thy right shall guard, one faithful harp shall praise thee. The minstrel fell, but the foe and steel could not bring that proud soul under. The harp he loved never spoke again, for he tore its chords asunder, and said, no chains shall sully thee, thou soul of love and bravery. Thy songs were made for the pure and free, they shall never sound in slavery. And said, no chains shall sully thee, thou soul of love and bravery. Thy songs were made for the pure and free, they shall never sound in slavery.
All right, so now the people that are not in Zach's intro, yeah, go out that way.
Good evening, and welcome to the Blue Room's 26th annual Bloomsday celebration. The song you just heard and over 700 other musical works appear in forms within the pages of James Joyce's Ulysses. Tonight we celebrate that singular aspect of Joyce's great work. 112 years ago tonight, on June 16, 1904, James Joyce and the love of his life, Nora Barnacle, went on their first date. 18 years later, Joyce published his 700-page novel, a highly experimental modern masterpiece in which all of the events take place on one day, June 16, 1904. The main character is a 38-year-old Dubliner named Leopold Bloom, and thus, all over the world, fans of Joyce celebrate this day as Bloomsday. James Joyce came from a musical family. He had a fine tenor voice and played several musical instruments, including piano and guitar. His father had a well-regarded tenor voice, and his mother played piano. In fact, if Joyce hadn't become a writer, he could have been a professional musician. And so, Joyce created a musical household for the central characters in Ulysses, Leopold Bloom and his wife, Molly. Now, when we first meet the couple, we learn that Molly, a professional singer, is planning a concert tour. She tells Bloom that she'll be singing 2 songs on her tour, one of which is an old parlor song called Love's Old Sweet Song. Now, no doubt Molly spent plenty of time practicing this song because it reverberates in Bloom's head for most of the day. The song may also plague poor Bloom because he suspects that Molly's manager for that singing tour, Blazes Boylan, will make love to Molly on this day. Tonight you will hear 2 unique performances of that song. But Love's Old Sweet Song is just one song in a symphony of music contained in the pages of Ulysses. According to Zach Bowen in his book Musical Illusions in the Works of James Joyce, music appears in connection with every theme and character in the book. It reinforces the major motives, establishes links between these motives, and is woven into the style, structure, and narrative pattern of the book. James Joyce did not invent the narrative technique of stream of consciousness, but no novel before or since Ulysses uses the technique as masterfully. And as we read and we enter the minds of the characters, among thousands of other thought fragments, we hear music. So I'd like to share one example of that from chapter 4, in which we first meet the Blooms. Near the end of the chapter, after serving Molly breakfast in bed, Bloom retires to the outhouse in the backyard. As he does, he notices the maid in the garden next door and sings a song, and a song pops in his head. Now, by way of illustration, I've asked Professor Lynn Elliott to sing the song for us tonight. Professor, if you please.
Sing a song of sixpence, a pocket full of rye, 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie. When the pie was open, the birds began to sing. Wasn't that a dainty dish to set before the king? King. The king was in his counting house, counting out his money. The queen was in the parlor, eating bread and honey. The maid was in the garden, hanging out the clothes, when down came a blackbird and pecked off the nose.
No!
Thank you, Professor. And now the text, which is a mixture of Joyce's narration and Bloom's thoughts. Now listen for the lyrics in Bloom's head. Heaviness, hot day coming, a paper. He liked to read at school. Hope no ape comes knocking just as I'm. In the table drawer, he found an old number of titbits. He folded it under his armpit, went to the door and opened it. The cat went up in soft bounds. Wanted to go upstairs, curl up in a ball in bed. He went out through the back door into the garden, stood to listen towards the next garden. No sound. Perhaps hanging clothes out to dry. The maid was in. Fine boy. He bent down to regard a lean file of spearmint growing by the wall. Make a summer house here. Scarlet runners, Virginia creepers. Want to manure the whole place over scabby soil. He kicked open the crazy door of the Jays. Better be careful not to get these trousers dirty. He went in, bowing his head under the low lintel, leaving the door ajar amid the stench of moldy lime wash and stale cobwebs. He undid his braces. Before sitting down, he peered through a chink up at the next door windows. The king was in his county. No weapon. Now, Zach Bowen's analysis of the text reveals how music in this one small example serves to deepen and expand the narrative. He writes, and I quote, "The pleasure that Bloom derives from the physical functions is underscored by the cheerfulness of the tune. And the transformation of Bloom from servile breakfast-bearing slavery to king is accomplished through one of the simple pleasures of even the poor." So, music is a vital ingredient in the development of this complex novel, and it is with that in mind that we bring you tonight's celebration of Bloomsday in the Blue Room. Thank you.
Once in the dear dead days beyond recall, when on the world the mist began to fall, out of the dreams that rose in happy song, low to our hearts love sang an old sweet song. And in the dusk where the firelight gleamed, softly it wove itself into our dreams. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, and the days and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song.
Joyce called the next to last chapter of Ulysses Ithaca, after the home of Odysseus. The chapter is a radical attack on the idea of literary style. It consists entirely of questions and answers that relate, among thousands of other things, the movements of Bloom and Stephen Dedalus, a young man considered Joyce's alter ego in the book. In our excerpt tonight, it is 2 a.m., and after a long night of carousing, the two men end up at Bloom's house and have stepped into the garden to pee, though they won't be using the outhouse. Molly is upstairs, presumably sleeping. What did each do at the door of egress?
Bloom set the candlestick on the floor. Stephen put the hat on his head.
For what creature was the door of egress a door of ingress?
For a cat.
What spectacle confronted them when they, first the host, then the guest, emerged silently, doubly dark, from obscurity by a passage from the rear of the house into the penumbra of the garden?
The heaven tree of stars, hung with humid night blue fruit.
With what meditations did Bloom accompany his demonstration to his companion of various constellations?
Meditations of evolution, increasingly vaster, of the moon, invisible and incipient lunation, approaching parity, of the infinite, litigious, scintillating, uncondensed Milky Way, discernible by daylight, blind observer, placed at the lower end of a cylindrical vertical shaft 5,000 feet deep, sunk from the surface toward the center of the earth, of Sirius, Alpha and Canis Major, 10 light years, 57 trillion miles distant, and in volume, 900 times the dimension of our planet. Of the precession of equinoxes, of Orion with belt and sextuple Sun Theta and nebula, in which 100 of our solar systems could be contained, of moribund and nascent new stars such as Nova in 1901, of our system plunging toward the constellation of Hercules, of the parallax or parallactic drift of so-called fixed stars, in reality ever-moving wanderers from immeasurably remote eons to infinitely remote futures, in comparison with which the years 70 of allotted human life formed a parenthesis of infinitesimal brevity.
What special affinities appeared to him to exist between the moon and woman?
Her antiquity in preceding and surviving successive Tellurian generations, her nocturnal predominance, her satellitic dependence, her luminary reflection, her constancy under all her phases, rising and setting by her appointed times, waxing and waning, the forced invariability of her aspect, her indeterminate response to inaffirmative interrogation, her potency over effluent and refluent waters, her power to enamor, to mortify, to invest with beauty, to render insane, to incite to and aid delinquency, the tranquil inscrutability of her visage, the terribility of her isolated, dominant, implacable, resplendent propinquity, her omens of tempest and of calm, the stimulation of her light, her motion, and her presence, the admonition of her craters, her arid seas, her silence, her splendor when visible, her attraction when invisible.
Were they indefinitely inactive?
At Stephen's suggestion, at Bloom's instigation, both, first Stephen, then Bloom, in penumbra urinated, their sides contiguous, their organs of micturition reciprocally rendered invisible by manual circumposition, their gazes, first Bloom's, then Stephen's, elevated to the projected luminous and semi-luminous shadow.
Oh, the days of the carry dancing, oh, the ring of the piper's tune. Oh, for one of those hours of gladness, gone, alas, like our youth too soon. When the boys began to gather in the glen of the summer night, and the carry piper's tuning made us long with wild delight. Oh, to think of it, oh, to dream of it, fills my heart with tears.
Was there ever a sweeter calling in the dance than Eiley Moore? Or a prouder lad than Thaddy as he boldly took the floor? Lads and lasses, to your places, up the middle and down again. Ah, the merry-hearted laughter ringing through the happy glen. Oh, to think of it, oh, to dream of it, fills my heart with tears. Time goes by, and the happy days are dead, and one by one the merry hearts have fled. Silent now is a wild and lonely glen, where the happy voice will echo ne'er again. Only dreaming of days gone by, in my heart I hear loving voices of old companions stealing out of the glen once more, and the sound of the dear old music, soft and sweet as in days of yore, when the boys began to gather in the glen of a summer's night, and the carry pipers tuning made us long with wild delight. Oh, to think of it, oh, to dream of it, fills my heart with tears. Oh, the days of the carry dancing, oh, the ring of the piper's tune. Oh, for one of those hours of gladness, gone, alas, like our youth, too soon. Oh, Daddy boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you, must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, and when the valley's hushed and white with snow. It's I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But if you come when all the flowers are dying, and I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear, though soft you tread above me, and all my grave will warmer, sweeter be. For you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. A wish is a dream your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams you will lose your heartache. Whatever you wish for, you keep. And have faith in your dreams, and someday your rainbow will come shining through. No matter how your heart is grieving, you keep on believing the dream that you wish will come true. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in to see you through. When you wish upon a star, your dream comes true.
Dirty old town.
Good day, O'Neill. You're a lucky man. You know what's coming up.
Oh, let me guess. Amnesty Day for debtors.
Demon balls.
Oh, it's the Gold Cup for sure then. You've pooled all your money together, and you're going to throw another 5 on throwaway.
It's the Bloomsday celebration coming up, and we're here to do our first read through.
Oh, well, same pub rules. No credit.
Well, praise the saints, boys. I'm temporarily solvent. Let's have pints and shots all around.
Here, here.
All right. All right, now. Here, I've got your scripts. Here you go, Joe. Thank you. Raj. Davey. You know, I got one extra. I tell you what, O'Neill, you can read along. You might find you learn something. Now, boys, these are the words of the master, his own words. Okay, now, this is supposed to be a humorous bit, you know? Okay. So let's go big.
All right.
Speaking of going big, now, Kenny there, I noticed you were leaving the pub last night with quite a large lump of a woman she was.
Meaning what, pray tell?
Well, meaning that if she lived any closer to the equator, that she could sell shade to the natives.
If you need to know, that's my new sweetheart. My own personal comfort zone.
Your comfort animal.
Yeah. The river heart.
The rhinoceros.
If you boys pass a plate glass window, please steal a glance. Now, Raj, lead us off there.
The coffin bumped out into the road, burst open. Paddy Dignam shoots out, rolling over, stiff in the dust, red-faced gray now, mouth fallen open, asking, "What's up now?"
Lord love a duck. Look at what I am standing drinks to. Cold water and ginger pop to two fellas who wouldn't suck whiskey up a sore leg.
Now, Kenny, does she sweat much?
Only proportional to her size, O'Neill. You're up, Joel.
Oh, all right. Oh, I like this one. Buck Mulligan, hewing thick slices from the loaf, said in an old woman's wheedling voice, "When I makes tea, I makes tea. And when I makes water, I makes water." Mrs. Cahill replies, "Well, God send you don't make them in the same pot." I like that one. I like that one too.
Oh, I forgot to tell him the one about the Earl of Kildare. After he set fire to the cathedral in Cashel, you know the one. I freely admit I did it, said he, but I declare to God, I thought the Archbishop was inside.
Well, now, Kenny there, you both being good Catholics and all, tell me, does she have to stand outside the confessional booth and whisper her sins in through the vent?
You are a lonely, jealous old bachelor, O'Neill. Right.
It was a nun, they say, invented barbed wire. Sister Mary Treestrand.
Husband, rolling in drunk. Stink of pub on him, like a poor cat. Whiff of stale booze. Then asks in the morning, "Was I drunk last night?"
Oh, my turn, my turn. This one's for you, O'Neill. Before my thoughts begin to run about F. McCurdy Atkinson, that same that had the wooden leg, that never dared to slake his drouth, and McGee, that had the chinless mouth, being afraid to marry on earth, they masturbated for all they were worth. That was yours.
Well, I hope he gave the good father a fair penance. 9 glorias for shooting a bishop.
Cannibals would eat Dignam's potted meat with lemon and rice. White missionary too salty, like pickled pork. Expect the chief consumes the parts of honor. Ought to be tough from exercise. His wives in a row to watch the effects.
You know, the Romans, like the Englishmen, brought to every new shore only his cloacal obsession. He gazed about him in his toga and said, "It is meet to be here. Let us build a waterhouse."
Oh, yeah. The Shakespeare ones. You give the Shakespeare ones to me. I like it. Okay. But Anne Hathaway. Mr. Best's voice said forgetfully, "We seem to be forgetting her, as Shakespeare himself forgot her. The gray-eyed goddess who bends over the boy is a bold-faced Stratford wench who tumbles in a cornfield, a lover younger than herself. If others have their will, then Anne hath a way." You see what he did there? You see what he did there? Yeah. You did see it.
This one is back at you. This one's for you. It says, Shakespeare is the happy hunting ground of all minds that have lost their balance.
You know, Kenny, she's bound to get you in trouble with the real estate tax man. Because when a person starts growing like that, they no longer become a person, but more of a place, you know.
We're not married, O'Neill. I'm in the clear.
Dead, says Alf. He's no more dead than you are. Maybe so, says Joe. They took the liberty of burying him this morning anyhow.
Interested someday to take a pass to see the Guinness Brewery. A regular word in itself. Vats of porter. Wonderful. Rats get in it too. Drink themselves bloated as big as a collie dog. Dead drunk on the porter. Imagine that. Drinking rats.
No Prince Charming is her beau ideal, to lay a rare and wondrous love at her feet, but rather a manly man. Strong, quiet face, who had not found his ideal, perhaps his hair slightly flecked with gray, and who would understand, take her in his sheltering arms, strain her to him with the length of his deep, passionate nature, and comfort her with a long kiss. It would be like heaven.
Very sweet.
A bloodless, pious face, like a fella going in to become a priest.
The laughter which chattered out of him, exhausted, like an old machine with a worn bearing.
I'd trade him by kindness, so I would if he was my dog. I'd give him a rousing fine kick now and again, where it won't blind him though.
I like this one. O'Neill, the title of your biography here. Every Man His Own Wife, or A Honeymoon in the Hand. First one to laugh at that.
That's the thing.
Bellawamo rises from the bed of his wife's lover's wife.
By that time, the dish was served warm, huh?
Nice.
Two drunks came out here one foggy evening to look for the grave of a friend of theirs. They asked where Mulcahy from Quom was buried. After traipsing about in the fog, they found a grave. One of the drunks spelt out the name, Terence Mulcahy. The other was blinking up at the statue of our Savior the widow had put up. Not a bloody bit like the man, says he. That's not Mulcahy.
She denied, sliding and bowing, twisting, Japanesing.
The movements which work revolutions in the world are born out of the dreams and visions in a peasant's heart on a hillside.
You know, that's a grand place for us to stop. You know, we're going to be a big hit on Bloomsday, boys.
Ah,
Oh, hopefully you'll be off book by then, but I'll say, never was there a finer group of working class scholars as these before me. Sriracha.
It's a 15-minute intermission. Our concessions will be back open, so grab a Guinness and we'll see you soon.
Okay,